Welcome back to another Dream SMP theory. Today we're going to be talking all about Wilburs Soot. I'm going to be doing a deep dive into his time on the SMP and analyzing him as a character, along with making some theories about his potential return to the SMP. Also, I finally made a Discord for talking about everything Dream SMP theory or whatever related. The link's in the description. You should definitely check it out. I'm very excited. Alright, now let's get into it.
God.
Let's talk Wilburs Soot, one of the most interesting and deep characters in the SMP in my opinion, and one I really think needs to be analyzed from the very beginning. On July 24th, 2020, Wilburs Soot joined the Dream SMP. Now, the first thing he really did was create a drug caravan. Now, this was before lore really started happening, but from what he says about his business, we can kind of gather a few ideas from his character off the get-go. First off, we know he's smart. He knows all about how to make a truly profitable business, and he's a very businessman outlook on life, saying he's willing to use Tommy and to take brewing stands from people so that their potions are the only option for purchase, along with framing those who discover the truth about their drug business and claiming that they were in the wrong.
Imagine what would happen if we could get every brewing stand off the server, and then we make an empire out of producing all the potions on this server.
So basically, we can sort of gather from the start of Wilbur's time on the SMP is that he's a smart guy who seems to be able to do whatever it takes to achieve his goals, whether those goals be power, success, or even something greater. Eventually, though, Sapnap tries to stop their drug making, and Tommy and Wilbur decide to start a revolution against Americans and make a new nation together, away from all of the Americans where they can make their drugs in peace. And they make Lutonburg.
What about Lutonburg?
Lutonburg.
Lutonburg.
Yeah, that's funny. Lutonburg.
With Tommy, Tubbo, Eret, and Fundy by his side, Wilbur decides he isn't satisfied with the Dream SMP, and they create their own nation. But it isn't done without a struggle. Dream isn't very pleased with the fact that they're trying to leave his server's rule and do their own thing, so the first huge war of the Dream SMP ensued thanks to Wilbur's revolution, the War for Lutonburg. Now, up to this point, Wilbur truly does seem like the hero. Obviously, this arc drew inspiration from history and the musical Hamilton. We see Dream as the King George in a sense, the man who wants to keep all the power to himself, who believes that he's in the right, who believes he's the ruler. And Wilbur, along with the rest of the revolutionaries, don't like that. They are like the Hamilton and the other revolutionaries of history, framed as heroes who wouldn't accept tyranny and would instead be brave enough to secede from it. Wilbur was that piece of bravery needed to allow all of this to happen. Dream was the one who declared war and blew things up and went against what you would expect and tried to betray Wilbur and his nation. Wilbur was simply doing his best to escape tyranny and defend what he believed was right. So at this point, Wilbur isn't much of a villain, but there were definitely plenty of other villains on the Dream SMP, and in fact, he was betrayed by one. Eret. In the final control room, it was uncovered that Eret was working for Dream and the others the whole time. This, again, gave Wilbur a really heroic position. He wasn't the villain, but rather the victim of betrayal by a villain. In fact, Wilbur was an incredibly reasonable guy during this war. He tried to have simple and non-violent meetings with Dream, and his perspective on wanting freedom from Dream's control made everyone root for his side.
We don't wish for bloodshed. We don't wish for war. We don't wish to show our power in any way. We just want freedom.
He even said Tommy's life was worth more than the revolution. He clearly cared about other people.
Tommy, your life is worth more than the revolution.
He had every quality of being a textbook hero who always saves the day and leads the right side to victory. So what went wrong from this point that caused him to go so downhill? Well, things began to change once Lutonburg did actually have independence. Wilbur had clearly experienced lots of stress running a group to create an entire nation that nearly failed, and this reflects in the election arc of Lutonburg. Wilbur decided it would be the right thing to do to have a democratic election, but instead of truly holding a democratic election, he tried to rig it so that him and Tommy had to win.
We don't tell anyone else that we're holding an election, and then we shut the ballot when it's only me as president and you as vice president running. So when the vote comes, they have to vote for us.
He says his reason behind this election at all was simply because no one was listening to them, and no one really saw them as the true leaders of the country because they weren't elected. Now, if you think about it, it makes sense in a way. Wilbur and Tommy fought. They gave up everything they had for the independence of a nation that they built themselves from the ground up, so Wilbur feels deserving of having power over it, even though people don't seem to listen to him, and this leads him to want to rig this election because he feels he deserves this power. Now, even though this reasoning is fairly logical, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's good. The power Wilbur felt he and Tommy earned after getting Lutonburg's independence gave Wilbur this sort of feeling of being better than everyone else. Like, he deserved to be listened to, no matter what the people of the country really thought, which is exactly what he was trying to get away from when choosing to secede from the Dream SMP. This was the point when he was very, very slowly turning into what used to be his worst nightmare. Now, as you might be aware, this plan for a rigged election did not work too well, and the endorser of the Pog Party, Jay Schlatt, went against Wilbur and Tommy and won the election for president of Lutonburg, resulting in a turn in Wilbur's already changing personality. It's important to keep in mind that at this point, Wilbur's ideals are kind of rooted in Lutonburg. This nation was his true rise to glory, and although it was short-lived, it still very clearly matters to him at this point in the story. And it seems like he had been shaping this nation into something he was so ready to be proud of, all for Schlatt to take presidency from his fingertips by a mere 1% of votes, after Schlatt and Swag pooled their votes. Wilbur is understanding, and he allows this win to happen until Schlatt makes his first decree as president, to exile Wilbur and Tommy from Manburg.
My first decree as the president of Lutonburg, the emperor of this great country,
Yes, sir. Surely not. Will.
is to revoke the citizenship of Wilbur Soot and TommyInnit.
We enter the phase of Pugtopia, a rebellion against Lutonburg and Schlatt as its new leader. I think Wilbur best sums up his own feelings and mental state about all of this as he runs from his former nation into the woods with Tommy.
We gave up literally everything for Lutonburg. We gave up friendships, we gave up alliances with some of the most powerful people on this server. Everything we earn in that sacrifice has been lost in one moment. Everything we earn has been lost.
From the beginning, Wilbur poured his heart and soul into the nation of Lutonburg, and it was the one thing he was truly passionate about. But suddenly, that was all stripped away from him, and he truly felt like he had nothing. It makes sense that this moment would be the true beginning of Wilbur's rapid downfall into a villain. And that's exactly what we see happen. Wilbur says a very famous line for the very first time at this point.
Lutonburg, my unfinished symphony!
Fundy.
My great unfinished symphony.
Now, from this point forward, I think the best way to look at this is a story of acceptance. Wilbur fights against Schlatt and chooses to create Pugtopia because he believes that he must finish that symphony, and in his eyes, he and Tommy are still the good guys here, and always have been. But as time goes forward, Wilbur slowly loses his trust in people, like his spy Tubbo, and he slowly seems to start losing faith in Pugtopia and its goal as a whole. Him and Tommy begin to drift in their opinions, and Wilbur seems to feel that he can only trust himself, and this thought gets to his head fairly quickly. Ultimately, this all leads to Wilbur's great realization that him and Tommy are the bad guys in this story.
Okay, me and you, we both agree we're right. We're in the right here, aren't we? We're the.
I'm always in the right, so.
Then let's be the bad guys. Tommy, what? Why not? Why not?
This is Wilbur's first big realization. Just because they're the bad guys in this history doesn't mean they aren't in the right. As I'm sure you're aware, the Dream SMP is very interesting in this concept of heroes and villains. It seems that almost every person, whether we view them as a hero or a villain, is very morally gray. And I think this is a point where Wilbur kind of realizes that. And this is also the moment where Wilbur cracks. It seems that everything put on him from the very beginning, the full realization that he lost the one thing he cared so deeply about to someone he hates so much, has all set in. Wilbur has spent hours, days, months of his time in Lutonburg, trying to make it the best thing he can, and it all just slipped from his fingertips, and he felt like he had no power, like he had nothing anymore. So, he proposes they blow up Manburg. And even though Tommy disagrees, I'm sure you know what happens next. After Schlatt's death and the seemingly glorious win of Pugtopia over Schlatt's government, Wilbur reveals that he had sided with Dream, and in one final, intense moment, he blows up Lutonburg and tells Phil to kill him, costing him his final canon life.
It was never meant to be.
Oh my god. You didn't. Oh my god!
Look! Look! How much work went into this and it's gone? Do it. Do it.
Now, there's obviously a lot to unpack here, but I want to start with the fact that this ends his journey of acceptance I was talking about earlier. When he first referred to Lutonburg as his unfinished symphony, it prompted him to want to take it back, to want to finish what he started, to want to finish the symphony, but over time, and being a part of Pugtopia, and understanding he was the villain, he accepted Lutonburg as it was.
My Lutonburg, Phil! My unfinished symphony, forever unfinished!
His unfinished symphony, forever unfinished. Like he said before, if he couldn't be the one to finish it, then no one could.
Tommy, I say, if we can't have Manburg, no one can have Manburg.
Him blowing up Lutonburg symbolizes his acceptance of leaving things unfinished, and of seemingly all the difficult pain and stress Wilbur got from Lutonburg being blown up with it. Even though Lutonburg remained unfinished, Wilbur's story did not. Blowing up Lutonburg, ending this unfinished symphony, leaving it unfinished, tied Wilbur's story to a perfect close in that moment. And it's furthered by Wilbur telling Philza to kill him. He knows he's the villain, but he also knows his work is done. He's completed his arc and this is his finale. He understands that Philza killing him is the perfect way to tie it all even closer together and to end off this tragic and dark story. But, surprise, Wilbur isn't even close to being gone at this point. He returns in Season 2 as Ghostbur, the accumulation of all of the good of Will in one entity, and none of the bad, as the bad parts seem to still be off in the afterlife. But Ghostbur learns a lot about Wilbur, or Alivebur rather, and it seems that Wilbur had some mixed reviews from when he was alive. There were people like Philza, who wanted to bring him back to life, and even Tommy at some points wanting to bring him back, and wanting Dream alive in order to revive Wilbur. During the Season 2 finale, we can see that Wilbur did not want to be brought back to life, and seemed to be alright with being dead.
Do you want to be alive again?
Oh, hell no. No, God, I was just entering this world just to ask, how did you manage to get, the discs back and stuff without killing Dream?
But then Dream killed Tommy in the prison, and things shifted. We got a slight moment of Tommy and Wilbur seemingly messing around with one another until Dream brought Tommy back to life, but Tommy has some pretty interesting things to say after being brought back to life by Dream. Number one, time in the afterlife is very different. So Tommy was only in the afterlife for 2 days, but for him it felt like months. This would mean that Wilbur has spent nearly 10 to 12 years up there.
The people, where's funding, where's
Sapnap? You were there for 2 days, Tommy. Did it just feel like 2 months? Was it or was it actually 2 months? How long were you in there for?
If I was keeping count, a month and between 18 to 20 days.
Tommy also seems to have developed the large fear of bringing Wilbur back. Apparently, the plans Wilbur has if he ever is brought back are very, very bad, and Tommy lets Dream know this. Now, Dream being Dream, he sees this as an opportunity, and promises Tommy he'll bring Wilbur back to help him escape prison, and Tommy is absolutely terrified by this thought.
Dream, I know this seems elaborate. Please, promise me you won't bring back Wilbur.
I'm bringing back Wilbur.
Now, imagining what someone who blew up the nation that they once founded has come up with after a decade of getting to think about different things to do is pretty scary, and I have no clue what he could be thinking, because Tommy hasn't really shared any of what Wilbur said, but I do have a feeling we're gonna know fairly soon. As for what Wilbur will do when he actually gets brought back, my prediction would be that him, Techno, and Ranboo all somehow help Dream escape prison, and Wilbur executes whatever mysterious evil plan he has, likely with the help of Dream as a favor in return for helping Dream escape the prison. But in all honesty, things could go completely south from expectations, and maybe Wilbur decides not to help or something. We haven't really heard much of him for a while in this time, so who knows what he's like now and what he's thinking. Also, before I jump into another quick analysis of things, I just want to mention that Ghostbur has been acting pretty weird as of late, and I've heard a lot of theories that maybe it's Wilbur in disguise pretending to be Ghostbur and that Dream already brought him back, or even a small part of Wilbur is coming back to the overworld as Dream slowly revives him. So be on the lookout for what Ghostbur's up to and what he might be doing in the near future, because I have a feeling it's important. Alright, to end off this full character analysis, I'm going to be doing a quick little spiel about the song lyrics from the song 8 by Sleeping at Last. Wilbur, the content creator, mentioned that this song was the inspiration for the character of Wilbur, and I figured some of the lyrics fit him and his personality pretty well, so I kind of wanted to share. Now, the song frames the story of a person who ended up in the role of power when they were naive, and became seen as someone strong when they weren't necessarily ready. They grew up too quick. Now, this clearly fits Wilbur's character. He was the one who started Lutonburg, and like the song says, he, quote, picked his armor up and suddenly it fit, end quote. He became the leader of a nation with no prior experience, and soon had people looking up to him when he simply started out making a new nation with a couple of friends just for fun. The next lyrics go as follows, quote, now you won't see all that I have to lose, and all I've lost in the fight to protect it. I won't let you in. I swore never again. I can't afford. No, I refuse to be rejected. End quote. Wilbur has a lot to lose. He has all of the nation riding on his back, and these people were counting on him to do everything he can to be successful with Lutonburg. He not only has his country to lose, but everything. He even said himself that losing Lutonburg to Schlatt was like losing everything he had, and this fight and revolution to protect this one nation has cost him so much, mentally and physically, but he keeps it to himself. He does his best not to show these emotions, which end up just building up inside of him until it all explodes at once, just like he said himself.
TommyInnit, I am a slow-burning fuse. I am a long, slow-burning fuse, but I'm telling you now, over the next couple weeks, I am going to be a different man than the one that Jay Schlatt crossed.
Now, there's obviously a lot more to unpack in that song, and that was just a couple lines I thought were really interesting, so I recommend you listen to the song or look at the lyrics yourself if you're interested in kind of getting an even better glimpse at Wilbur's character. But I do think it's interesting looking at everything Wilbur did and realizing that it all kind of had a purpose behind it, and kind of trying to make it make sense and be able to explain his actions based on what he was going through and the things that happened to him. So I'm interested to see how all of this will affect him when he does come back, if Dream decides to revive him, and I'm excited, because he's also writing the next parts of the Dream SMP, and I think it's going to be pretty cool. But anyways, that's all I have for you today. I hope you liked this kind of new character analysis format I did. If you liked it, please remember to like and subscribe. That would be awesome. By the way, the day I'm posting this happens to be the 16th, and a lot has happened in other parts of the lore recently, so the video is over now, but here's a quick little rant on all that if I can manage to get this video out before anything goes down on the 16th. First of all, Quackity uploaded a drawing of Mexican Dream sitting in the afterlife, and there's something really weird behind him. At least to me, it looks kind of like a nether portal, so maybe Karl will go through it in the next Tales episode and end up in the afterlife or something. Maybe that's where it leads, and he'll see Mexican Dream and Schlatt and Wilbur, or maybe he won't see Wilbur because Wilbur's already been revived or something. Also, Ranboo has been really weird recently, and he started this entire ARG thing going on, and there have been pages and different things happening, so if that continues forward, I'm planning on making a full theory just about Ranboo as a character very soon, because there's a lot going on there, but we'll see. Okay, hi. Really quick at the end of the video, I just wanted to add that I just finished watching Quackity's lore stream and oh my god, so much happened that we need to talk about. So I need to get this video out hopefully soon, and I will be discussing all of that in a future video, so get hyped for that. And also, if you want to join the Discord and talk about that, please do, because I have so many questions and so many theories, and I'm really excited about it. Okay, anyways, that's all. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Wow, so much happened. Anyway, okay, bye.